the Nuno Nina Academy.
Hi everybody, let me tell you a story. Many years ago, I used to get injured with some frequency. In addition to heat, allergies and other unpleasant reactions in terms of health got in the way of my life. It was not good. In November '65, a national vaccination program was started in Portugal. It was the vaccine against poliomyelitis that was chosen, and when I was about 4 years old, I ended up having a serious adverse reactions which got me admitted to hospital unity. Because of it, I was never vaccinated against anything again, and until today, vaccines, antibiotics, and I have never had a relationship. I never taken antibiotic, and in terms of vaccines, I only took a small dose because my reaction was almost instantaneous. The truth is that until my 30s, I wasn't a sick person, but I wasn't a super healthy person either. I used to catch a cold, and I had the flu once, twice, or even 3 times a year. Not to mention the injuries of having to play with all 6 of my children, a lot of sprains. When I was 8, my mother took me to a doctor who arrived from US and was very famous in Portugal. I was diagnosed with autism, and my mother was devastated. At the time, no one was talking about autism, and the doctor just said it was a brain disease with no cure. I never see my mom so sad before, so I decided I would never go to a doctor or hospital again. After all these years, and after my mom passed away 1 year ago at the age of 99, I can say that she died happy because it turns out my brain disease was not so bad after all. Around my 30s, I decided that I didn't want to be sick, nor I didn't want to die of illness. Basically, I didn't want to suffer. For that to be possible, I had to understand what kept me alive and healthy and what could make me sick. I didn't want to go down the medical path, so as I didn't like the way they thought about disease or the way they had made my mother sad. So I started looking at the electrical side of things. I have always been fascinated by electricity, and I read some books that made sense to me. And I started to create circuits so that I could apply them to my body. Of course, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Something went well, others didn't, but little by little, I had created a whole theory based on my way of thinking. Nowadays, I basically don't get colds anymore, and I run more with my grandson on my lap than my children do. The secret lies in understanding the concept of redox. We oxidize when we need energy and reduce to recover from the energy spent. The cycle of our life is comprised of oxidation and reduction. When this cycle is broken, we lose health. In today's super stressful life, the balance is always at risk because there are more oxidizing agents than reducing agents around us. This is where our Healy comes in. In my experience, Healy can have a fantastic reducing function. We can also use it for oxidation. However, the oxidation that Healy produces is an oxidation within healthy limits. But in reality, the function that is best attributed to Healy, it is reducing role, and as such, it is the ability to recover the redox balance, which basically the way to a healthy life. In order to make Healy job easier, we look at natural cycles since their function is precisely to oxidize and reduce. If you understand how they work in terms of oxidation, we can use Healy more efficiently. So what you have, we have oxidation is loss of electrons, or RP is positive. And you have the gain of electrons in the reduction, and RP is negative. Basically, we have three cycles: the daily cycle, the lunar cycle, and the solar cycle. The daily cycle, as you can see in the slide, you have oxidation reduction also in lunar cycle and also in the solar cycle. So the function of Healy is to play with redox. If you want to use Healy to support the bioenergetic field of an organ or a state of health, we know that the best time will be in the natural flow of reduction. But if you want to give energy, strength, and vitality to an organ's harmony or a state of health, we know that the time where Healy becomes most efficiently will always be at the neutral time of oxidation. So for today, it's all.